I can't stop thinking about what you said yesterday, and I don't think you understand what it did to me. It was not just a sentence. It was not just a moment. It felt like a mirror being placed gently in front of my heart, showing me the parts of myself I usually keep hidden from the world. I have learned how to be strong, how to keep moving, how to carry ambition like armor. But your words reached a place in me that success never touched. They made me feel soft, not weak, but honest. Have you ever said something with love and not realized it became shelter for someone else? Because that is what happened. Your words stayed with me like home. They made me wonder if love is not about being certain. What feels true. Maybe this is where I begin true, and maybe this is where I begin telling you what your words awakened in me. Will you listen a little closer? I have been thinking about the way your words stayed with me, and I need to be honest with you because there is something about honesty that feels different when it is spoken to the right heart. Yesterday, when you said what you said, I did not react the way I usually do. I did not try to explain it away. I did not turn it into something small. I carried it with me. I carried it into the quiet part of the day, into the spaces where no one sees me, into the silence where I usually meet myself without pretending. And that is when I realized your words had done something deeper than comfort me. They had awakened me. They made me pause in a way I was not prepared for. They made me look at myself without the old excuses, without the mask of being fine, without the need to appear strong every second. Have you ever had someone say something so gentle that it made you feel exposed, not hurt, not judged, just seen? That is what happened to me. Your words became a mirror, and in that mirror, I saw the man I have been, the man I have hidden, and the man I still want to become. I saw how much I have chased, how much I have survived, how often I have confused movement with healing. I saw that I have spent so much time becoming strong for the world that I almost forgot how to be soft with someone who matters. But here is the truth I do not say easily. I am strong out there, but with you, something in me becomes quiet. Something in me stops fighting. Something in me wants to be honest, even if honesty makes me feel vulnerable. And maybe that is what scares me most, not love itself, but the way real love asks me to stop hiding behind everything I have built. Your words did not ask anything from me, and maybe That is why they reached so deeply. They did not pressure me. They did not demand a promise. They simply stood there, calm and steady, like a door left open with warmth on the other side. I have known people who speak to be heard, people who speak to win, people who speak to control the room. But your words felt different. They felt like presence. They felt like emotional safety. They felt like the kind of love that does not rush a man, but still makes him want to become better. This is where everything inside me shifted a little. I realized that maybe the deepest kind of connection is not the one that makes us perform, but the one that gives us permission to be real. Maybe love is not always fireworks. Maybe sometimes love is a quiet sentence that follows you home and sits beside you until you finally admit what you feel. And what I feel is not loud. It is not desperate. It is not trying to possess you. It is softer than that. It is the feeling of recognizing something sacred and wanting to protect it with patience. I keep thinking about how your words made me see my own fears. I saw the fear of being known too deeply. I saw the fear of needing someone. I saw the fear of trusting something I cannot control. And I know that might sound strange coming from a man who has walked through life trying to be steady, but maybe steadiness without tenderness becomes a kind of loneliness. Maybe a man can have everything the world respects and still feel like there is one room in his heart that has never been lived in. Your words entered that room. They did not break the door down. They simply turned on a light. And I stood there looking at myself, realizing how much I still want to love without fear, how much I still want to build something that feels like home, not pressure. I thought I needed certainty before I could trust, but maybe trust begins before certainty. Maybe it begins when someone's presence feels honest enough for you to take one small step closer. Not a dramatic step, not a reckless step. Just one human step towards something that feels peaceful. That is what your words gave me. They gave me a reason to stop measuring love like a risk and start feeling it like a foundation. I do not want to make promises that sound beautiful but feel empty. I do not want to speak about forever if I cannot be present today. I want to learn the kind of love that listens, the kind of love that does not run when vulnerability enters the room, the kind of love that understands timing, patience, and the quiet courage it takes for two people to trust again. And maybe I am saying too much, but I think your heart can understand this. I think you know that sometimes a confession is not about having all the answers. Sometimes it is simply about saying, this mattered to me. And what you said yesterday mattered to me. It reached beneath the ambition, beneath the armor, beneath the version of me that knows how to survive. It touched the part of me that still believes love can be safe. It touched the part of me that wants a shared purpose. Not just a beautiful feeling. It made me imagine a future where we do not rush, where we do not force, where we build slowly and honestly, where presence matters more than perfect words. So I want you to know this. Your words did not disappear after the moment ended. They stayed. They became a mirror. And in that mirror, I saw my tenderness, my fear, my hope, and the man I want to become beside a woman whose presence feels like peace. I kept returning to your words, not because I wanted to overthink them, but because they felt like a quiet truth waiting for me to become brave enough to hear it fully. Yesterday, you did not just speak to me. You met me in a place I rarely let anyone enter. You said what you felt with such softness that it almost made me afraid, because softness has a way of revealing where we are still guarded. I have been trusted by Ross, admired by strangers, and counted on by people who only know the strongest version of me. But your words touched the part of me that does not want to be impressive. It touched the part of me that only wants to be understood. Have you ever realized that being seen can feel more frightening than being alone? That is where I found myself after you spoke. I was not running from you, but I was aware of how much I have trained myself to stand behind the walls I built from old disappointments. I thought those walls were wisdom. I thought they were protection. But your words made me wonder if maybe some walls begin as safety and slowly become distance. And I do not want distance with you. I do not want to love from behind glass, where everything looks close, but nothing can truly be touched. I want to learn the kind of trust that does not demand perfection from either of us. I want to learn how to stay present without needing every answer before I take one honest step. That is what your words awakened in me, the desire to trust, not because life is certain, but because your presence feels sincere. There is something sacred about a woman who does not force herself into your heart, yet somehow becomes the place your heart wants to rest. You did not ask me to open up. You did not push against the locked doors inside me. You simply stood there with truth in your voice, and suddenly I could hear my own silence. I could hear the way I have avoided needing anyone. I could hear the way I have called independence peace, when sometimes it was only fear with a calmer name. And I want to be careful here, because I do respect strength. I respect the kind of life that teaches us to stand, to survive, to choose ourselves when no one else knows what we are carrying. But I also think strength can become lonely when it never allows love to help. Maybe that is why trust feels like such a holy thing to me now. Trust is not pretending we cannot be hurt. Trust is admitting we can be hurt and still choosing not to make fear the ruler of every room. Your words did that for me. They did not erase my fear, but they made fear feel less like a command and more like a memory I could finally question. And maybe this is the part I was not ready to say out loud. I want to trust you slowly, deeply, and honestly, not in a way that makes you responsible for healing everything I have survived, but in a way that lets me meet you without dragging every old shadow between us. I do not want to punish you for wounds you did not cause. I do not want to make you prove you are safe every day just because someone else once made safety feel uncertain. That would not be love. That would be fear asking for control and calling itself caution. Real love, the kind I am beginning to understand through you, feels more like a foundation than a fire. Fire can be beautiful, but if it is all we have, it consumes. A foundation is quieter. It does not beg for attention. It simply holds the home when weather comes. Your words felt like that to me. They felt like foundation. They reminded me that love does not have to arrive with noise to be powerful. It can arrive gently, like a hand placed over a trembling heart. It can say, I am here, without needing to own the room. It can be patient and still be passionate. It can be calm and still be alive. Have you felt that difference too, between someone who wants access to you and someone who wants to understand you? Because I felt it in you. I felt that you were not trying to take anything from me. You were inviting me to become more honest with myself. And that kind of invitation humbles a man. It makes him look at the way he loves, the way he listens, the way he protects himself, and the way he may have mistaken emotional distance for maturity. I used to think trust was something another person had to earn completely before my heart could soften. Now I think trust is also something I must become capable of giving, not blindly. not carelessly, but consciously, with both eyes open, with my spirit awake, with my heart willing to notice the difference between danger and depth. You are teaching me that difference without even trying. You are teaching me that emotional safety is not built through grand speeches. It is built through consistency, tone, patience, kindness, and the way someone treats your tenderness when they finally see it. I think about that often now. I think about how easy it is for people to love the polished version of us and how rare it is for someone to respect the unfinished places. You made me feel like my unfinished places did not disqualify me from being loved. And maybe that is why I kept your words so close. They gave me permission to breathe without performing. They made me feel that maybe I do not have to choose between ambition and softness. Maybe I can still build, still dream, still walk toward purpose, and also come home to a love that lets me be human. That thought does something to me. It changes the meaning of success. It makes me want a future that is not only impressive from the outside, but peaceful from the inside. A future where we can sit together without needing to fill every silence. A future where our trust is not loud, but steady. A future where you feel safe being tender, and I feel safe being true. Before you go, hear this one thing. Your words yesterday did not make me trust everything at once, but they made me want to begin. And for a man who has spent years protecting the quietest parts of himself, wanting to begin is no small thing. It is a doorway. It is a prayer. It is the first honest brick in a home I never thought I would be brave enough to build again. So I am not rushing this. I am not grabbing at the future with desperate hands. I am simply standing here, grateful, awake, and a little softer than I was before you spoke. I am learning that trust is not a cage. Trust is the foundation beneath a love that can breathe. And when I think of you, when I remember your voice, when I hold your words like a mirror, I see the possibility of becoming the kind of man who does not just love deeply, but love safely. I keep thinking about how intimacy does not always begin with touch or promises or the kind of words people say when they are trying to sound certain. Sometimes intimacy begins in the quiet act after someone speaks honestly and your heart realizes it no longer wants to hide. That is what happened with you. Your words did not chase me, but they found me. They did not ask me to become someone else, but they made me want to become more truthful. And maybe that is the rarest kind of closeness, the kind that does not demand entrance, yet somehow makes the soul open the door. I have known connection that felt exciting for a moment and empty afterward. I have known attention that looked like love, but felt like pressure. I have known conversations where people listened only long enough to reply. But with you, something feels different. Your words made me feel like I was not being studied, judged, or measured. Felt you received. Do you know how powerful that is for a man who has spent so long being unexpected to have answers? To feel received, not inspected. To feel invited, not pushed. To feel like there is room for his silence, too. That is why I keep returning to silent yesterday. It was not only what you said, it was not only your presence held the moment. It felt like a home with lights on inside, not because everything was perfect, but because something was warm enough to trust. And I need to confess this gently. I am beginning to understand that love is not proven by how much someone overwhelms you, but by how deeply they can make you feel safe without making you feel small. Your words gave me that feeling. They made me want to sit closer to truth. They made me want to stop pretending that emotional distance is always strength. Maybe strength is also the courage to say, this touched me. Maybe strength is admitting, I am afraid, but I am still here. Maybe strength is letting a woman's tenderness become a mirror instead of a threat. I saw myself in that mirror again today. I saw the man who still wants to protect his heart, and I did not hate him for it. I understood him. He has been through enough to know that not every open door leads to peace. I also saw another man inside me, a man who does not want to keep living behind locked rooms. A man who wants to build something honest, not from fantasy, but from presence. And that is where you meet me, not in the noise of wanting everything at once, but in the patience of allowing something real to breathe. Have you ever felt that love becomes more beautiful when it is not rushed? When no one is trying to control the timing, when no one is forcing the heart to bloom before it is ready, when two people can stand near each other and trust the quiet growth happening underneath. That is the kind of intimacy I want with you. Not a love that demands proof every hour. Not a love that turns tenderness into performance. A love that understands that the deepest roots grow where no one is watching. A love that can be patient without becoming cold. A love that can be passionate without becoming possessive. a love that can hold space for both of us to be human. But here is the part that humbles me. Your words made me realize that intimacy requires responsibility. If I ask to be close to you, I must also become safe for you. I cannot only enjoy your softness, I must protect the conditions that allow it to exist. I cannot only admire your heart, I must handle it with care. I cannot only want your presence, I must offer mine with consistency. That is what I am learning. Presence is not just being nearby. Presence is attention with love inside it. Presence is noticing when your voice changes. Presence is hearing what you do not say. Presence is making sure you never feel alone while standing beside me. And I want to become that kind of man. Not because I am perfect, but because your words remind me that love deserves effort without ego. I do not want to give you a version of me that only shows up when life feels easy. I want to learn how to stay gentle when things are uncertain, how to listen when my pride wants to defend, how to return when old fear tells me to withdraw. This is where everything feels more real to me. I used to think intimacy meant being known in beautiful ways, but now I think it also means being known in honest ways. It means letting someone see the tiredness beneath the ambition, the tenderness beneath the strength, the questions beneath the confidence. And it means offering the same grace back. I do not want to love you like you are an idea. I want to love you like you are real. Real means you will have quiet days. Real means you will need reassurance without feeling ashamed. Real means you will carry dreams, doubts, softness, and storms. Real means I cannot just be drawn to your light. I must respect your shadows too. Your words taught me that without teaching. They showed me that the future I want not is built from perfect moments, but from honest ones. It is built when two people choose understanding over winning. It is built when trust becomes the foundation and patience becomes the rhythm. It is built when love feels like home, not pressure. So tonight, I am not asking for everything. I am not reaching for a promise your heart has not spoken. I am simply honoring what yesterday revealed in me. It revealed that I want closeness with peace inside it. I want intimacy that does not erase freedom. I want a shared purpose that makes both of us softer and stronger. And when I remember your words, I feel this quiet blessings rising in me. May I become the kind of man who makes your heart feel safe to stay. I think growth begins in the moment we stop asking love to distract us from ourselves and allow it to reveal us gently. Since yesterday, your words have been doing that to me. They have not let me hide unsaid ambition is the way I sometimes do. They have not let me pretend that being busy is the same as being fulfilled. They have followed me quietly, like a mirror I keep finding in every room of my heart, reflecting not only what I feel for you, but what I still need to become if I am going to love with peace instead of fear. And maybe that is why this feels so different. You did not make me want to escape my life. You made me want to bring more truth into it. You made me want to grow in the places where I have been surviving on habits, silence, and old strength. Have you ever met someone whose presence did not pull you away from your purpose, but made your purpose feel more human? That is what your words did. They reminded me that success without tenderness can become a beautiful house with no warmth inside. It may impress people from a distance, but it does not hold you at night. It does not ask how your soul is breathing. It does not notice the little fractures you keep hidden behind discipline. But love, when it is real, notices. Love does not always speak loudly, yet it pays attention. It sees where we are becoming tired of being untaught. It sees where the heart has learned to be careful. And with you, I do not feel like I have to choose between the man who dreams and the man who feels. I feel like maybe both can exist in the same body, in the same future, in the same quiet home built on trust. Here is the truth that keeps returning to me. I do not only want a future that looks good. I want one that feels honest. I want mornings where peace is not a stranger. I want conversations where we can be brave without becoming cruel. I want a love where growth is not demanded like a debt, but invited like sunlight through a window. I want us to become better because we feel safe enough to be honest, not because we are afraid of losing each other. That kind of love takes patience. It takes humility. It takes the willingness to admit, I am still learning, even when the world expects us to already know. Your words made me feel that kind of humility. They made me realize that I can be admired and still need to mature. I can be capable and still need tenderness. I can be strong and still need a place where my heart is allowed to rest. And I wonder if maybe you need that too. Maybe beneath your grace, beneath your benign softness, beneath the calm way you carry yourself, there is also a part of you that wants to be met without being rushed. Maybe you want a love that does not ask you to prove your worth every day. Maybe you want someone who understands that your heart is not a stage. It is a home. And if I am ever invited into that home, I want to enter with respect. I want to remove the noise from my spirit. I want to listen before I assume. I want to protect the peace you have worked so hard to build inside yourself. This is where everything becomes deeper for me. I am beginning to see that shared purpose is not just two people chasing the same dream. It is two people helping each other remember who they are when life becomes heavy. It is standing beside each other without turning love into control. It is building something that makes both hearts wider, not smaller. It is choosing presence over performance again and again. And I do not want to be the man who only loves you when you are easy to understand. I want to be the man who stays curious when you are quiet, gentle when you are tired, patient when timing asks us to slow down. Because love that feels like home does not panic every time the door closes for a moment. It trusts the foundation. It trusts the warmth already built. It trusts that two people can take space without losing devotion. Before you go, hear this one thing clearly. I am not afraid of growing anymore the way I used to be. I used to think growth meant admitting failure, but now I think growth is the most honest way to honor love. It means I care enough to become more aware. It means I care enough to put down pride when tenderness is asking to be protected. It means I care enough to build slowly, even when my heart feels something deeply. Your words yesterday made me want that slow, sacred building. They made me want a future where we do not just love each other in beautiful moments, but support each other through becoming. And maybe that is the kind of love I have been searching. Not a love that rescues me from myself, but a love that rescues me from myself, but a love that reminds me I am allowed to heal. Not a love that makes life smaller, but one that gives every dream a softer place to land. So when I say I cannot stop thinking about what you said, I mean I cannot stop thinking who I became in the silence after hearing it. A little more honest, a little more open, a little more willing to trust that the future does not have to be forced to be real. Sometimes it can be nurtured. Sometimes it can grow slowly, like roots beneath a quiet house, unseen but steady. And maybe with you, I am finally learning that love is not the end of ambition. It is the meaning that teaches ambition where to come home. I have been imagining the future differently since your words reached me. Not like a movie, not like a perfect picture, but like a quiet room where both of us can finally breathe without pretending. I used to think the future had to be chased, shaped, earned, and proven, as if life would only respect me if I kept moving faster than my fear. But after what you said, I started to wonder if the future I truly want is not something I conquer, but something I become gentle enough to receive. Maybe that is what your presence is teaching me. Maybe love is not a distraction from purpose, but the place where purpose becomes human. I can see it now in small ways, not grand declarations, not promises made too early, but the simple rhythm of two hearts learning how to feel safe beside each other. I see conversations that do not need to impress. I see quiet evenings where the world can be loud outside, but between us there is peace. I see your face softening because you no longer feel like you have to carry everything alone. And I see myself becoming the kind of man who does not confuse providing with loving, who does not think protection only means standing strong in front of you, but also becoming tender enough to stand beside you. Have you ever imagined a love that does not ask you to shrink, rush, perform, or explain your entire heart before it is ready? That is the love I find myself imagining with you. A love that gives us room to grow without making growth feel like punishment. A love where your dreams do not threaten mine, and mine do not silence yours. A love where we can build a shared purpose without losing the sacred shape of who we are alone. This is where your words keep guiding me, like a mirror held close to the future. They ask me, without force, what kind of home I want to create. Not just with walls, not just with plans, not just with a life that looks beautiful from the outside, but with emotional safety, trust, patience, forgiveness, laughter, and the courage to keep choosing each other in ordinary moments. Because I know that now that a real future is not built only in the days when love feels easy. It is built when misunderstanding enters the room and both people still choose gentleness. It is built when fear returns and nobody uses it as a weapon. It is built when silence comes, not as punishment, but as space to understand. It is built when we can say, I need you, without feeling ashamed, and I need time without feeling abandoned. That kind of future takes maturity. It takes humility. It takes two people who understand that love is not ownership. Love is stewardship. Love is caring for what has been trusted to you. And your words made me want to become worthy of that kind of trust. I do not mean worthy in the way the world measures worth. I mean emotionally worthy, present enough, honest enough, patient enough, soft enough to listen, strong enough to stay. I want a future where you never feel like your tenderness is unsafe with me. I want you to know that your softness will not be mocked. Your silence will not be punished. Your vulnerability will not be used against you when life becomes difficult. And I want the same freedom, too. I want to be able to come home from the battles of becoming and not have to wear armor at the door. I want to sit beside you as myself, not the polished version, not the unshakable version, but the real man who is still learning how to love without fear. Before you go, hear this one thing: I am not a perfection. I am imagining peace. I am imagining effort that does not feel heavy because it is rooted in care. I am imagining patience that does not feel like waiting in pain, but like tending a garden we both believe in. I am imagining a love where timing is respected, where nothing sacred is forced open, where trust grows because both of us keep showing up with clean hands and honest hearts. Your words made me realize that the future is not only about where we are going, it is about who we are becoming while we walk there. And if I ever walk beside you in that deeper way, I want our steps to feel steady. I want us to build slowly enough that nothing important gets lost. I want us to remember that love is not proven by speed, but by consistency. It is not proven by how loudly someone claims you, but by how gently they protect your peace. Maybe that is why I cannot stop thinking about you. Not because you gave me a fantasy, but because you made me want truth. You made me want a life where ambition has a soul, where success has a home, where dreams are not just achieved, but shared with someone who knows how to hold the quiet parts of them. And maybe one day, when life has tested us in ways we could not predict, we will look back and realize that this was where the foundation began, in a simple moment, in words spoken softly, in a mirror held up to the heart. I will not rush that. I will not force it. I will bless it with patience. Because if love is truly meant to feel like home, then I want to build it in a way that still feels peaceful when we finally arrive. I am learning that patience is not the absence of love. Sometimes it is the deepest proof that love has stopped trying to control what is sacred. Since your words yesterday, I have been sitting with that truth in a way that feels both tender and humbling. There is a part of me that wants to reach for the future quickly, because when something feels honest, the heart naturally wants to hold it close. But another part of me, maybe the wiser part, knows that anything meant to become home must be built with care. A home is not forced into being. A foundation is laid slowly. Trust is placed before it is decorated. And love, real love, does not panic just because it is not rushing. Have you ever noticed how the most beautiful things in life usually grow quietly? Roots do not make noise, but they hold the tree. And done. Healing does not announce itself, but one day you realize you are breathing differently. Trust does not always arrive as a grand moment. Sometimes it appears as a gentle calm in your chest when someone's presence no longer feels like danger. Not urgency, not pressure, a calm desire to honor what is forming without squeezing it too tightly. Your words made me understand that timing is not something to fight when the heart is sincere. Timing can be a kind of mercy. It can protect what is still becoming. It can teach two people to know each other beyond excitement, beyond imagination, beyond the first beautiful feeling. And I want that with you. I want to know the rhythm of your heart, not just the poetry of your presence. I want to understand what makes you feel safe, what makes you quiet, what makes you pull away, what makes you open again. I want to learn you with patience, because anything less would feel careless. But here is the soft confession I keep coming back to. Patience is not easy when someone touches a place in you that has been lonely for too long. It is not easy to feel peace and still choose not to rush it. It is not easy to see the outline of a future and still respect the steps required to reach it. Yet maybe that is where love becomes mature. Maybe love grows up when it stops asking, "How quickly can I have this?" and starts asking, "How gently can I protect this?" That question has been changing me. It has been teaching me that your heart is not something to win. Your heart is something to honor, Your trust is not a prize, it is a responsibility. Your presence is not proof that I should hurry. It is a blessing that asks me to become more present, more patient, more aware. I do not want to come toward you with hungry hands. I want to come toward you with clean intentions. I want you to feel that nothing in me is trying to trap you, rush you, or make you carry the weight of my longing. I want my love, if I ever get to offer it fully, to feel like a place where your nervous system can rest. That matters to me more than sounding romantic. It matters more than saying the perfect thing. Because what is the use of beautiful words if they create pressure? What is the use of passion if it makes someone feel unsafe? I would rather love you slowly and truly than loudly and carelessly. I would rather build trust in quiet ways than decorate uncertainty with promises. And maybe this is what your words were really showing me. They were not only showing me how deeply I feel, they were showing me how carefully I must love. Before you go, hear this one thing. I am not waiting because I am unsure of the beauty I see in you. I am choosing patience because I respect it. I respect the woman you are, the healing you carry, the peace you deserve, and the future that should never be forced just to satisfy a moment. I know the world often teaches us to move fast, to claim quickly, to prove love by intensity. But I am beginning to believe the deepest love is often proven by restraint, not cold restraint, not emotional distance, the kind of restraint that says, I care too much to rush what deserves reverence. That is the kind of man I want to be with you. A man who can feel deeply and still move wisely. A man who can desire closeness and still honor your pace. A man who understands that presence is more powerful than pressure. Your words yesterday became a mirror again today, and in it I saw my own impatience, not as something shameful, but as something human. I saw the part of me that wants certainty, because uncertainty has hurt before. I saw the part of me that wants to know where this is going, because the unknown can feel like standing in the dark with an open heart. But I also saw something stronger than fear. I saw trust beginning quietly, carefully, like morning light touching a room before anyone speaks. And maybe that is enough for now. Maybe the beginning does not need to be louder than this. Maybe love can begin as a blessing whispered over times. So I bless your presence in my life without needing to possess it. I bless the words you gave me without demanding more before you are ready. I bless the space between us, because even space can be sacred when it is filled with respect. And I bless the man I am becoming because your softness reminded him then that patience is not losing love. Patience is giving love room to become true. I have been thinking about meaning since your words found me. Not the loud kind of meaning people try to announce, but the quiet kind that changes how a man stands in his own life. For so long, I thought meaning was somewhere ahead, hidden inside the next achievement, the next mountain, the next doorway I could open if I just stayed strong enough. But yesterday, when I remembered your voice, I felt something shift beneath all of that. Meaning started to feel less like a crown and more like a hand reaching for another hand in truth, gently. I do not know why that realization made me emotional, but it did. Maybe because I have known what it feels like to be admired and still feel unseen, to be surrounded and still feel untouched, to be busy and still feel a small ache asking whether all this movement is leading me home. Your words became the answer I did not expect. They did not tell me to abandon my dreams. They asked me to give my dreams a heart. Have you ever felt that when someone makes your ambition feel warmer instead of heavier? I've felt that yesterday. Your presence did not make me smaller. It made me more whole. It made me wonder whether the life I have been building could become more than a monument to endurance. Maybe it could become a sanctuary. Maybe every hard road I walked was not only to prove I could survive, but to teach me how precious gentleness is when it finally arrives. That thought stays with me. It sits beside me like a quiet blessing and asks, what will you do with the softness you have been given? And I know the answer cannot be selfish or rushed. If your words open something in me, then my responsibility is not to grab at that opening like a man afraid of losing warmth. My responsibility is to honor it, to stand near it with humility, to let it teach me how to love without turning love into need. This is the part I keep learning. Meaning is not found by possessing what moves us. Meaning is found by becoming worthy of the tenderness we are trusted to hold. And I want to become worthy in that quiet, daily, human way. Not perfect, but awake. Not flawless, but willing. Present. I want to be present enough to hear you beneath your words. And patient enough not to demand clarity before heart is ready to offer it. I want to be strong enough to protect peace and soft enough to admit when I have disturbed it. That is not a small desire for me. It is a new kind of success, one that no crowd can clap for and no title can give. It is the success of becoming safe for someone's soul. And when I think of you, I understand why that matters more than noise. Now, more deeply, before you go, hear this one thing. I am not only thinking about the sweetness of us, I am thinking about the sacred work of us, patience, the forgiveness, the turning, the courage to say, that hurt without trying to destroy each other. The courage to say, I need you, without feeling weak. The courage to say, I am still learning without shame. This is the shared purpose I imagine, not two people smiling small through life, but two honest people protecting the light between them when shadows pass over it. That feels sacred to me, beloved. I know there will be moments when love is not easy, when our old fears rise up and try to speak louder than our trust. I know there may be days when timing asks us for patience, when silence asks for tenderness, when distance asks for faith instead of panic. But if the foundation is honest, then even those moments can become places where love matures. That is what I want with you. Not a story without difficulty, but a bond with enough presence to walk through difficulty without turning against each other. I want us to remember home then. Home is not a place where nothing ever shakes. Home is where we learn how to steady each other when the shaking comes. Home is where truth can sit down without being punished. Home is where love does not have to shout to be believed. Your words made me want that kind of home, and they made me see that I cannot ask for it unless I am willing to build it too. So I am looking inward, not with blame, but with devotion. I am asking where I must soften, where I must grow, where I must trust more. And I am asking these questions because you matter to me in a way that feels quiet and serious. Not heavy, but real. Not dramatic, but rooted. You feel like a reminder that love can be both gentle and brave, both tender and purposeful. You feel like proof that a woman can enter a man's thoughts without demanding space, simply by being true. And I do not take that lightly. I hold it carefully, the way someone holds a lamp in the dark, not because the flame is fragile only, but because it is precious. Your words are that lamp. They keep showing me the road inward toward the man I want to be, when no one is applauding, when only love is watching. And maybe that is the meaning I have been searching for, to become someone whose presence makes another heart feel safe, free, seen, and blessed. So tonight I bless what your words awakened. I bless the mirror they became. I bless the future without forcing it. I bless you with peace, and I bless myself with courage to love slowly, honestly, humbly, and gently enough to come home again and again. I keep coming back to the same quiet place inside me, the place your words opened yesterday, and now it feels less like a wound and more like a window. At first, I thought your words had only made me vulnerable, only made me softer, only made me remember the parts of myself I usually hide. But now, after sitting with them, I understand something deeper. They did not just reveal me, they blessed me with the chance to choose who I become from here. And maybe that is the most beautiful thing love can do. It does not simply find us where we are. It calls us forward with tenderness. Have you ever felt that kind of calling? Not loud, not demanding, but steady enough to change the way you breathe? That is what I feel when I think of you. I feel called toward patience, toward honesty, toward a love that does not need to prove itself. Through pressure, I feel called toward a future that does not begin with control, but with trust. Your words became a mirror, yes, but they also became a doorway. And standing at that doorway, I see the man I have been, the man I am becoming, and the woman whose presence made me want to walk more gently. I want you to know that I am not holding your words like a burden. I am holding them like a small light. They have not made me restless in a painful way. They have made me awake. They have made me notice what matters. They have made me realize that a love worth building should never make either of us feel trapped. It should feel like coming home to ourselves while still making room for each other. That is the future I imagine now. Not perfect, not polished, not free from storms, but safe enough for truth. I imagine a love where we can be quiet without fear, honest without cruelty, close without losing ourselves. I imagine us learning the sacred art of returning, because every real love must learn how to return. Return after misunderstanding. Return after fear. Return after the old wounds try to speak louder than the present. And if I am blessed enough to walk that road with you, I want my returning to feel steady. I want you to know that my love would not be a place where your softness has to defend itself. It would be a place where your heart can take off its shoes and rest. But here is the truth that humbles me most. I cannot ask you to feel safe with me if I'm willing to keep becoming safe. For your trust if I do not treat it like something holy. I cannot ask for your future if I do not honor your present. So I am choosing the slower way, the honest way, the way that respects timing instead of wrestling with it. I am choosing presence over promises that sound beautiful but have no roots. I am choosing patience over fear. I am choosing to let this become what it is meant to become without forcing my longing into the shape of certainty. And maybe that is love in its most mature form. Not the need to hold everything tightly, but the courage to hold something gently and still believe it matters. Before you go, hear this one thing. What you said yesterday will stay with me, not as an obsession, but as a blessing. It reminded me that I am still capable of being touched by truth. It reminded me that success is not enough if the heart has nowhere tender to land. It reminded that a man can be strong in the world and still need a love that lets him breathe. And it reminded me that you, with your quiet words and honest presence, carry the kind of peace that does not beg for attention, but changes the room anyway. I hope you know how rare that is. I hope you know that your softness is not small. I hope you know that the right love will never punish you for being deep. If there is one blessing I want to leave with you, it is this. May you never shrink your heart for anyone who does not know how to hold it. May you never confuse pressure with passion, or uncertainty with unworthiness, or silence with the absence of love. May you always remember that what is meant for your soul will not need to break your peace to reach you. And if I am part of that peace, I will meet it with gratitude. If I am part of your future, I will walk toward it with clean hands. If I am allowed to love you, I will try every day to make that love feel like shelter, not weight. Your words yesterday showed me my fears, my tenderness, my hope, and my purpose. They showed me that love is not just the dream. Love is the courage that makes the dream real. It is the daily choice to be kind, the quiet discipline of listening, the humility to grow, the patience to wait, and the faith to trust what is still becoming. So tonight, I bless you softly. I bless the words you gave me. I bless the mirror they became. I bless the future without trying to own it. And I bless this between us, because even this space feels sacred when it is filled with respect. Wherever you are as you hear this, I hope peace finds you first. I hope your heart feels held without being crowded. I hope you remember that you are not a storm to survive, but a home to be honored. And as for me, I will keep becoming softer, truer, braver. I will keep carrying your words, not because I cannot let go, but because some words become light, and some light leads us